quick thanks to A Tribe Called Fantasy community. Thanks for joining the squad. We officially hit 50 subs this past week. We're super hype. We're going to be pushing on till we hit 100, and then we're just going to keep going from there.
Thanks for checking out this video. You could be listening to any idiot on the internet with a mic in front of them, but you chose to listen to us, and we appreciate that.
We're sending you a virtual hug. If you have any trade questions or start-sit questions, leave a comment. Justin or myself will definitely respond, or maybe even both of us will respond.
If you like the video, drop us a like, comment, sub. You know the drill.
Welcome to A Tribe Called Fantasy with your hosts, Greg and Justin.
Check the description for players that just didn't make the list this week, and leave us a comment if we forgot anyone on the list.
All right, getting into it. Starting us off at 36, we got Ronald Jones taking on the Panthers. Had a real fall from grace ever since Leonard Fournette's come back. Had 3 catches and 3 carries last week. The 3 catches really saved his day, to be honest. 9 yards receiving and rushing.
I actually dropped Ronald Jones in one of my leagues last week.
I think you can start considering it unless you're in a really deep league. He did play 32% of snaps, but Leonard Fournette is clearly the guy. The matchup's pretty nice against the Panthers, but really just a Hail Mary play and not one you feel good about.
I think there is hope in the sense that if Leonard Fournette gets the work and he fumbles on a play, I think you see the switch to Ronald Jones.
Yeah, Bruce Arians does not play that shit.
So there is always that possibility.
True. I think if you have options too, you just hold on to him.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a deeper league, especially because he could have massive value come playoff time if Leonard Fournette gets hurt again.
And he'll have fresh legs.
Yeah, which Leonard Fournette has been known to do.
Yeah, very true. At 35, we have Joshua Kelley. Last week saw decent production, but Justin Jackson did go down, in like the first drive or something like that?
I do believe so.
I think he played 2 snaps in total. So there was definitely an opportunity for Joshua Kelley to capitalize on. But we also saw Kalen Ballage involved. I don't remember if Troymaine Pope was super involved. I think he may have also been injured.
He was.
Okay.
Kalen Ballage is on the practice squad once again.
Yeah, I saw they demoted him.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a player to keep your eye on.
He had a great game.
Yeah, for sure. But Joshua Kelley's real value this past week came in the passing. He had 5 catches for 31 yards. Definitely a risky flex play at best.
100%. Speaking of risky plays, we got 34, Jonathon Taylor taking on the Titans, and this is a real head scratcher. 9.4 fantasy points, but if you take away the touchdown, he had 3.4 points. That's awful.
Yeah.
He did fumble, which I guess probably –
it was after he fumbled, it switched to Jordan Wilkins.
Yeah, because, I mean, they took that shit back to the house too. So it was a real game changer. He ended up playing the least amount of snaps out of all running backs. Nyheim Hines and Jordan Wilkins played 2 more snaps each.
I don't think this is the end of Jonathon Taylor, but I think that you are obviously tampering expectations to the maximum at this point, and I think that they're just going to feed the hot hand, and depending on game script as well.
Yeah, you're hoping he gets the start and gets some touchdowns, doesn't fumble the ball again, but definitely have the red caution flag out and throw that man in your bench if you can afford to.
At 33, we have Malcolm Brown. Last time we saw him had 10 carries for 40 yards, had that bye week, which I believe Darrell Henderson got injured in that game, so I can't remember if that impacted his workload, but they kind of switched back and forth between Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson taking on more of a lead role, but has a really good matchup against the Seahawks, and the Rams love to set up their play action, so I think Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson will both have opportunities to score in this game.
I like it. At 32, we got Gus Edwards taking on the Patriots. The Patriots, they look terrible. The Jets just dropped 27 on them. It's 27-30, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, terrible.
I was not really watching that game.
It looks so bad. But luckily for Gus Edwards, his team is amazing, and he is getting the goal line work. He played 38% of snaps last game, so he's clearly behind J.K. Dobbins, but he's getting the ball when it counts. He has 3 touchdowns in his last 3 games. Mark Ingram is not expected to return this week. Even if he does, Mark Ingram just hasn't looked good. I think you can still expect Gus Edwards to get the goal line work and still find a role in that offense.
At 31, we have Rex Burkhead. This Thursday, we saw Damian Harris go out. I think it was a chest injury. I'm not positive. I don't think we're going to see him back. Sony Michel is still questionable to return. So it's looking like Rex Burkhead might be getting the feature role this week in the Patriots backfield. Does have a pretty tough matchup against the Ravens, but definitely an interesting flex play. Has opportunities in passing. James White hasn't been a huge factor recently. I don't know if that's just system, maybe just talent, but they also like to involve Rex Burkhead in the goal line.
Yeah, he's a little white boy. You know, the Patriots love that.
Yep.
James White, he's been looking rough. I had to drop him in one of my leagues, actually.
Yeah, I think James White is a very droppable player at this point, and I don't know. There just isn't much competition in this backfield with Damian Harris going down. Sony Michel still very much in question. So I think Rex Burkhead, he's probably on your waiver wire, so you can probably pick him up. There's probably injuries. We do have a lot of players coming back this week, but there's definitely always some injuries plaguing us. Yeah, I just double-checked. Sony's still on IR, but there just hasn't been any updates.
Okay, at number 30, we have Salvon Ahmed. Yeah. Is that how you say it?
I don't know about this one, bro.
He's the guy.
Is he, though?
He's the guy. I know we talked about Jordan Howard, but I
mean, I wouldn't feel great about playing Jordan Howard, but let me go take a peek at this guy.
Yeah, fuck, I already forgot it.
Salvon Ahmed.
Yep.
7 carries for 38 yards, 0 catches. Yeah, bro, I'm playing Jordan Howard over this guy all day.
46% of snaps.
I don't know. Who are they going to give it to on goal line?
Man, Jordan Howard cannot produce with these goal lines.
I mean, I guess you're not wrong. He had 10 carries for 19 yards. They are playing the Chargers. I don't know.
I guess we'll probably just put them both. If you're listening, you're just as confused as we are who to start. But I'm taking Salvon Ahmed.
I'm taking
over Jordan Howard all day. But if Matt Brieda plays,
difference of opinions.
You take Matt Brieda.
Matt Breeda's not playing, though. I think it's unlikely.
It's questionable, yeah. He has a hamstring injury. Those things linger. But I think that just the pure amount of snaps that Salvon Ahmed had, I like that better. 46% compared to Jordan Howard's 34%. And the fact that Jordan Howard has like a 2 yards per carry on the season, like it's just
he's not great.
Doesn't make me feel good about it. So it's really up for you to choose which shit Miami running back do you want to start.
Yeah, very true. I just think Jordan Howard's going to get the goal line work, which is why I lean towards Jordan Howard. He does obviously have a history of inefficiency, so that is also, it makes sense why you'd want to lean the other way.
Yeah.
Next on the list, at what number are we on? 29, we have Phillip Lindsay against the Raiders. He is not getting a ton of volume, but I guess this past week he wasn't super efficient against the Falcons, which is disappointing. 8 carries for 23 yards, no receptions. Melvin Gordon also had a tough game too, so maybe it was just that team struggling in the running game, but has a chance to bounce back against the Raiders this week. The Raiders are a weak run defense. Phillip Lindsay has been efficient more often than not with his carries, so I think this is a good week for Phillip Lindsay to bounce back from this past week's performance.
At 28, we got Jordan Wilkins taking on the Titans. Truthfully, I'm avoiding all Colts running backs, but I think if you have to pick one, this is probably the guy you want. He looks better. He's not fumbling the ball. We heard 2 weeks ago from the offensive coordinator saying that he earned some touches. I think the Jonathon Taylor experiment is not over. I mean, he's a rookie, so he's got years to make it. But I think this year, Jordan Wilkins gives them the best chance to win. He led tied for the lead in snaps with 34% with Naheem Hines. Jonathon Taylor played 31. It's a true 3-headed monster back there. Jonathon Taylor did fumble, which gave the Wilkins some extra work, but I just think he looks better. I think if you have to take a gamble on a Colts running back, like I said, please don't start them if you don't have to, but I'm taking Jordan Wilkins if I have to against the Titans.
Yeah.
Who have been letting up some points.
Not to David Montgomery. this past week. At 27, we have Wayne Gallman slash Devonta Freeman. We've kind of copped out because it's been unclear whether Devonta is going to be back in the lineup or not. But I think regardless of if he is or isn't playing, it really wouldn't affect this ranking. So if it's either Devonta Freeman or Wayne Gallman, I think that they both kind of land in this position. I think Devonta is a slightly better runner than Wayne Gallman, but their volume and workload is going to be very similar. And they're going to be a floor at best running back. They're gonna get you 10 points and you're gonna go about your day. It's not a great play, but it's starting to, at this point on the list, things start to look a bit better as far as upside goes.
And up next at 26, we have Antonio Gibson taking on the Lions. This is not what you wanted as an Antonio Gibson owner. If you saw our trade video a couple weeks, we told you to trade his ass. And this is exactly why. Because we predicted the future and we saw another leg injury at Washington.
Oh, so sad.
Oh, man, it's bad. And then to send in the guy who also had a leg injury.
Bro, he's going to hurt his leg again.
Dude, don't say that. But I do think with Alex Smith in there, his usage is probably going to go down. The reason we have him here is just because he is the better running back in a running aspect. He's going to get the goal line work. The Lions have a terrible run defense, so he could see a pretty good game. But I think J.D. McKissic is probably going to see majority of the snaps. Antonio Gibson saw 46% of snaps. J.D. McKissic saw 83%. So kind of a disparity there. Alex Smith really likes J.D. McKissic, so it's up to you. You probably drafted Antonio Gibson late or you traded for him. So if you traded for him, you're kind of screwed. You kind of have to start him.
Yeah.
You just pray for a touchdown. Hopefully he gets 2 catches, a touchdown, and 30 yards.
That would be ideal. At 25, we have J.K. Dobbins. Not very efficient this past week, but to be expected against a tough Colts defense. I think if you were starting J.K. Dobbins, you should have lowered your expectations from the jump anyways. But had 12 carries, which is promising, 2 catches. I'm nervous to start any Ravens running back, but has a good matchup against the Patriots. The Patriots have not been great. I mean, they just almost lost to the Jets. So that kind of says the state of the Patriots. They got it out the window. But yeah, J.K. Dobbins, I think, is kind of the main talent in that Ravens backfield, the Ravens running back that I want to have on my team.
I probably would have him too. Not feeling great about that team or the Colts, to be honest. At 24, we got J.D. McKissic taking on the Lions. He's probably on your waiver, got scooped a couple weeks ago, and now is his time to shine. Last week, he had 14 targets and caught 9 passes for 65 yards, added 3 rushes to that. I don't know if that was game script that he saw 14 targets, but I do know that his second most targets is 8, which he's done twice. But one of those weeks was with Alex Smith. So this is Alex Smith's guy. He looks for him in situations where he's trying to avoid breaking his leg again.
Damn.
That was a little aggressive.
It's not wrong, though.
Alex Smith didn't deserve that, him or his kids.
Nah.
But
retire, dude. For the love of God.
Dude, for my sanity.
I'm nervous when he's on the field.
I'm nervous when any Washington quarterback takes the field.
Yeah.
Any NFC East quarterback, for that matter.
It feels like every single Washington team's quarterback has been injured. They had Colt McCoy get injured when he started playing well.
Dude, he got put in a coffin by James Harrison. Oh, man, I forgot about that.
That was when he was on the Browns.
Oh, that was
But then he happened, I guess, whenever he was on, 2 years ago, maybe? I don't know. We don't need to be talking about Washington football team quarterbacks.
I mean, you got RG3, you got Joe Theismann.
Yeah.
You got
Alex Smith, now Kyle Allen.
Who's next? That's the real question.
Shame it couldn't have been Dwayne Haskins.
That's the one person it won't be because he's not going to see the field.
Next up, we have Darrell Henderson Jr. at 23. I did not miss him being off the list last week. It was kind of nice getting a break from these Rams running backs. One week it's Darrell Henderson, 1 week it's Malcolm Brown. We always have just kind of leaned towards Darrell Henderson at this point because he gets more volume. Does have a good matchup against the Seahawks, but you're always timid to see what kind of production you get out of Darrell Henderson Jr. I think he's winning or losing you your games each and every week if you're having to play him as your RB2, as some players are having to do.
Yeah, I think this guy's also doing the same, and that is Melvin Gordon at 22. Has a really good matchup against the Raiders. Had a very poor game last week. I think he's going to bounce back. Just to make you feel better, he did play 60% of the snaps compared to Phillip Lindsay's 38%. So he's still seeing a majority of the work. It just didn't work out that well last week. I think they were throwing a little more, though, trying to get themselves back into the game.
Yeah.
Because the Falcons apparently –
I mean, I think he had 6 catches still. Or maybe not this past week. Sorry, actually. I think he had a pretty rough week.
He had 3.7 fantasy points.
Yeah.
He had 1 catch,
Okay.
6 carries. So,
that's what it was.
Yeah. Good memorization.
Thank you.
I like Melvin Gordon. Yeah, I like Melvin Gordon as a player. I think he is just not in a position to succeed.
At 21, we have Zack Moss, who has been kind of on the come up these past 3 weeks. Has put up double-digit fantasy games after coming back from his injury. Well, there was 1 week where he put up 1 point, but since then, since he's kind of fully integrated back into the offense, he's been pretty productive. They kind of have a 50-50 split. I think Zack Moss has a very small percentage higher of snaps than Devin Singletary, but he's getting important touches, and he's found the end zone the past couple weeks. So Zack Moss is definitely the Buffalo Bills running back I want to have. The Bills are going to find themselves in another high-scoring game against the Cardinals, and in those types of games, there should be plenty of points to go around.
I'm really excited about that game.
It's
going to be some good football.
Is that prime time?
I don't know. I don't know the game times.
I hope it is.
Up next, we have Leonard Fournette taking on the Panthers. He saw 1 carry for 0 yards, but he had 6 catches for 41 yards. I think that had a lot to do with game script. They were just getting the piss beat out of him by the Saints. He still ended up playing 66% of the snaps. Like I said, that could be game script, but I do believe the past few weeks have shown that Leonard Fournette is the running back they want to lean on. They like Ronald Jones, but they just don't trust him. So I think you should feel the same way. If you have Leonard Fournette, you probably drafted him early. You're hating yourself half the season, but now's the time. You can start him with semi-confidence. I was going to say be confident, but I'm not confident.
I think you have more confidence in starting Leonard Fournette over Ronald Jones, but that is where the graciousness can end.
Yeah, I think him and Zack Moss are very similar. It's fitting that they're right next to each other.
Yeah, well put. Leonard Fournette is obviously more talented, hence why we have him higher and a good matchup.
Who knows, man? Zack Moss is young.
That is also true. At 19, we have Justin Jackson taking on the Dolphins. The Dolphins defense has been pretty solid this year. Justin Jackson got injured within the first few plays last Sunday, so we did not get to see him on the field much, which is sad because I think most Justin Jackson owners hopes were pretty high after his week against the Denver Broncos where he got you 17 points or so.
Yeah, he played 3 snaps.
Wow. I think he got injured and then came back and played more snaps.
I think he played 1 more.
Yeah.
I just think that they didn't really need him. Kalen Ballage, they brought him up for a reason. They used him. They demoted him.
Yeah.
In that order.
I think Justin Jackson he's gonna be used in the passing game. They're gonna give him the ball 15 times or so, depending on game scripting. So this is definitely the Chargers running back that has the most talent and that should correlate to opportunities. So I think out of the running backs and the Chargers, this is the one you want.
At 18, we have Jerick McKinnon taking on the Saints. He put up a better game than Hasty did. Hasty obviously didn't do much. Me and Greg had a little debate about that. That's a fat L I'm holding right now. Jermichael Hasty, good talent, but they doesn't seem like they want to use him like that. Played 26% of the snaps, and Jerick McKinnon played 74%. I do think that they were resting him a little bit because they didn't want him to get injured like all of the other running backs. There is something to note that Tevin Coleman could potentially return. I wouldn't expect him to. He's always hurt. They probably want to get him to 100 because he did injure I think it was either his leg or his knee.
It was his knee that he was already went on IR for that same injury.
Yeah, he re-injured it, so that doesn't make you feel good. So I would imagine they're going to give him some time.
Something to note too, Jerick McKinnon essentially saved his day off of a garbage time touchdown. So Jerick McKinnon and JaMychal Hasty were pretty much the same player through most of the game, but Jerick McKinnon just got a garbage time touchdown.
Yeah, well, they were getting destroyed by the Packers, so I don't see that happening this week against the Saints, even though the Saints just put on a clinic against Tampa. But I could be wrong.
At 17, we have DeAndre Swift taking on the Washington football team. Had 13 carries for 64 yards, 3 catches. They've been pretty consistent on the amount of work they give him in the passing game. So you can kind of expect to get 5 targets, 3 catches or so each game. So you're not going to get a ton of points off of receptions. And they also kind of have a committee in that backfield too. But DeAndre Swift is their rookie. They're kind of leaning more towards the run, especially with Kenny Golladay being injured. I think he's coming back this week though. Hopefully.
I don't think so.
No?
Yeah.
Sad. Anyways, yeah, DeAndre Swift is looking like a good scoop this season so far.
Yeah, 100%. At 16, we have David Johnson taking on the Browns. Still in concussion protocol. Very disappointing last week where he had 2 carries for 16 yards. And they had like 4 plays. I think the first drive was 3 plays, 2 plays, something ridiculous. And then follow that up. They're moving the ball pretty well, and then Deshaun Watson just throws him a little lollipop, and he gets decapitated.
I did not see that play.
He went to sleep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was not even looking. It was he basically should have just thrown it a slant in the middle of the field, and he would have had a better chance of surviving. Feel really bad about it because I'm a David Johnson owner, but I do believe if he plays that he'll have another solid outing against the Browns. He sees a lot of passing down work. If he doesn't play, I do think you can start Duke Johnson. I would probably start Zack Moss over him, but I don't think I would start anybody else from that point down.
I might take the shot on Melvin, but I would say I'm at a similar position. At 15, we have David Montgomery, who also suffered a concussion against the Titans, I think, late in the game. So definitely something to keep your eye on as far as if David Montgomery doesn't play. I don't know that I feel comfortable starting Cordarrelle Patterson or something Nall. I can't remember the other running back's name that they have. I wouldn't feel great about starting either of them. But if you're desperate, you can go ahead and add them. But, yeah, if David Montgomery's playing, you know what to expect out of David. You're getting 15 touches. You're getting some work in the passing game. It's not going to be pretty, but he's typically going to find a way to get you to double-digit points, very low double-digit points. But, take what you can get and go about your day with David Montgomery.
Up next at 14, we have Joe Mixon taking on the Steelers. A very tough matchup, and potentially don't know if Joe Mixon's going to play. He's still dealing with that foot injury. He suffered it in week 6. They were aiming for him to return this week. It's to be determined at this point. It's Tuesday night, so we don't know for sure. But if he plays, you start him. It sucks he has to play the Steelers in his first game back. I like Giovanni Bernard at this same spot, though, if he doesn't play. I think Giovanni Bernard has proved that he can put up fantasy points.
Yeah.
And he's got a sick-ass mustache.
Because it's the Steelers, I'd be a bit more timid with Giovanni Bernard. Joe Mixon is obviously a more talented player, but I think I would start David Johnson over Giovanni Bernard, but I think the volume will lean towards Giovanni Bernard more. At 13, we have Kareem Hunt. Kind of disappointed you last week against the Raiders. Didn't get to double digits. Has had a few off weeks these past 3 weeks.
It was a terrible weather game.
Oh, wait, they had a bye week this past week. But, yeah, against the Raiders, yeah, good memory. Has a really good matchup against the Texans. You do have Nick Chubb coming back. It seems very likely that he is making his return. But we have seen them manage fantasy feasible outings while both of them are playing. Yeah. So I think you hamper your expectations. You're probably not going to see 20 touches. You're probably going to get 10, 12, some reception work, some passing down work. He's been really successful in that role.
Yeah, they utilize him in the slot so much. And Chubb has been taking part in individual drills while wearing a knee brace on his right knee. So it's too early to tell for sure, but since we make these early, we don't want to miss out if Nick Chubb does return. Kind of want to give you just an outlook of where we would think Kareem Hunt would be with Nick Chubb. And we still like his value. The Texans let up a lot of points. And like Greg said, this man, he lines up everywhere, gets catches, gets carries,
Gets paid.
I
don't know about getting laid these days because of his scandal.
Oh.
I don't know. Let's not die.
I think
Let's keep it on track with that.
I don't think it was a punch, but we'll move on.
It was definitely some sort of whatever.
It was a leg.
It was something.
Yeah.
Anyways.
At number 12.
Does Kareem Hunt get laid? I don't know. We're going to send our best reporter on to the scene in Cleveland. We're going to ask him ourselves. We're going to get you to the nitty-gritty. Did he hit it? Kareem Hunt edition. Oh, that is a terrible segment name. Oh, that is hilarious.
Man. It was funny until you said how funny it was.
I know. Well, I was like slow because I didn't intend for it, and then I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, but you can't just like call out your own jokes like that. Oh man, I'm so funny.
I realized that as I was saying it, I was like, "Oh shit, that's hilarious." I didn't mean it like that, but it's funny.
Not funny anymore. At 12, we got Chase Edmonds taking on the Bills. Didn't have the greatest game, but Miami defense has been on a tear. Still saw 25 carries. I expect him to have another pretty solid outing against the Bills, who does have a decent matchup. Is there any news on Kenyon Drake tonight?
He is day to day. But he looked like a copied clone of Kenyon Drake as far as fantasy numbers go.
Yeah, I think that was strictly just the defense they're playing. I think Kenyon Drake isn't as good as Chase Edmonds in open field.
I agree.
But he probably hits the holes a little bit better, so something to look out for, that injury. But if you have Chase Edmonds, you start him.
Yeah. At 11, we have Mike Davis. This is with the assumption that Christian McCaffrey isn't playing. We did leave Christian McCaffrey off the list because it has seemed more negative than positive. There's been missignalings as far as whether Christian McCaffrey's availability for this weekend will be good to go. But Mike Davis, I mean, he's looked good in some games, but these past 3 games he hasn't looked great. I mean, watching the games, he's some of his runs look really good, but yeah, with Christian McCaffrey, he's definitely just a non-factor. But without Christian McCaffrey, we know what Mike Davis can do. Has a really tough matchup against the Bucs. So definitely kind of tampering expectations because of the matchup, but you know that he'll get the work.
Breaking into the top 10, we got Chris Carson taking on the Rams. Hopefully he will return from injury. He is expected to practice this week, but Pete Carroll came out early on Monday and said it's too early to know if he'll play. He has a chance. He's got a chance. Hearing that doesn't make me feel great, but if you have Chris Carson, you knew these injuries could be a potential thing. He gets hurt a lot. He fumbles a lot, but man, he is explosive. He's good in the passing work. He's got good on the run game. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I'm losing it.
He's a good running back.
Yeah, he plays football well.
If Chris Carson doesn't play, which Seahawks running back do you want to play? I don't know where we would rank.
Assuming Carlos Hyde is back, or
yeah, I suppose if Carlos Hyde is back, it's Carlos Hyde.
It's Carlos Hyde, yeah. I mean, if it's Homer or DJ Dallas,
that's a little more dicey.
That is a little more dicey. I'm probably going to stay away from both.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
The offense is so explosive. Man, I'm losing it here. The offense is so explosive, though, that one of those players could have 2 touchdowns like DJ Dallas had that one game. So it is tough. You can't take a shot on any of the running backs there strictly because of the team. It's like playing a Chiefs wide receiver.
Yeah. At 9, we have Josh Jacobs. A lot of Josh Jacobs owners, I feel like, have been disappointed with him. I think there has been a lot of promise, though. He's seen a ton of volume. He just hasn't really found the end zone consistently. But, that's fantasy football, baby.
Hey.
He's going to get the work. He has the talent. It's just a matter of if he can find the end zone and kind of what the game scripting is looking like for the Raiders. They've been kind of hard to gauge what the games are going to look like.
At number 8, we got James Conner taking on the Bengals. The Steelers really squeaked one out against the Cowboys. Can't even believe they haven't lost a game yet. Honestly, Super Bowl pick, Steelers?
I don't love it.
You don't love it?
I don't love it. But, I mean, how can you root against, or how could you speak against an undefeated team at this moment in time?
Yeah, with COVID, you really never know what's going to happen. Big Ben has COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, he does not have COVID. He is in COVID restriction for close contact, but he tested negative. I think he'll be back. So I expect the Steelers to put an ass whooping on the Bengals. I think James Conner will bounce back. They were down early, so he just kept having to put up points. The Steelers kept having to put up points. James Conner put up 4 points. Not great. I think he'll bounce back. It was his worst game of the season other than that week 1 shit show where he got hurt. That's all I got to say about James Conner. Good dude. Beat cancer.
Hell yeah. At number 7, we have Miles Sanders going against the New York Football Giants. Finally coming back from injury, so we hope. It is a bit unclear.
He's practicing.
That's promising. Obviously, if you have Miles Sanders, you're playing him. He's going to get the volume. The matchup is pretty decent. The Eagles want their playmakers back. You're going to be so stoked to start Miles Sanders this week.
At number 6, we got Nick Chubb taking on the Texans. Juicy matchup. The question is, will Nick Chubb play? He's taken part in individual drills, but he has not been cleared to return. They haven't said he will, but it's Tuesday night when we're recording this, so we're going to cover all our bases. We wanted to get the look in what Kareem Hunt would be like if Nick Chubb played. Nick Chubb's obviously a stud. Would have led the league in rushing yards last year if it wasn't for the creative Madden player known as Derrick Henry. But overall, Nick Chubb, he's a monster. Texans, easy matchup.
At 5, we have Derrick Henry. The biggest question this past week is Derrick Henry, is he overrated?
Who's asking that?
Just me, because he only had 7 fantasy points.
Oh, man.
I don't know. Has a tough matchup against the Colts, which actually isn't great, but Derrick Henry is pretty much matchup proof. Had a rough time against the Chicago Bears, but the Titans were kind of struggling on offense, I feel like, against the Bears, just in general. Obviously, they want to run the offense through through Derrick Henry. They're going to try and just completely demoralize the Colts on defense, and you can definitely do that by handing the ball to Derrick Henry.
At number 4, we have the number 4 PPR running back.
Oh, is he really?
On ESPN.
Wow.
James Robinson taking on the Packers. The Packers defense, they locked it in last week. The offense was clicking. I expect Jake Luton. J names, they get me. I expect Luton to continue his semi-average production day without that huge DJ Chark catch. His stats would not have looked nearly as good. But I think they're going to lean on James Robinson. I think James Robinson has shown you why he is a stud in the making. 25 carries last week for 99 yards. I think he'll see a similar workload. I don't know if he'll have the same yardage, but he's always good for at least 15, at least 10, and it's impressive. Shout out to the rookie class.
Yeah, hell yeah. Undrafted. Number 3, we have Dalvin Cook. He's been on a tear. Had another monster game. I think he got close to 40. Tough matchup against the Bears. It doesn't matter. You're starting Dalvin Cook every week. I don't think the matchup really matters for Dalvin Cook either.
At number 2, we got Aaron Jones taking on the Vikings. Had a decent production in his game back. I think he'll get back to his early season form very quickly. I think with the way that offense is rolling, you can expect Aaron Jones to be heavily involved and definitely make some plays. I think they're going to be coming back with a vengeance after losing to the Vikings a couple weeks ago.
Agreed. At the top spot, we have Alvin Kamara.
Kamara.
Damn.
Dude, do you even own this guy?
Alvin Kamara, first pick for me in the draft. Number 1 running back in the league.
Number 1 running back in our hearts.
And in our hearts. So pure. Anyways, good matchup against the 49ers. Any matchup is a good matchup for Alvin Kamara. Thanks for checking out this video. If you have any issue with where we put any of these players or who we put on this list, go ahead and let us know in the comments. We can handle the heat, and we will not get out of the kitchen.
Bully us if you'd like. We're ready.
We can handle it. We're tough boys, but we are so desperate for approval. Hence the YouTube channel.